Hey guys, in this video I want to talk to you a little bit about maintaining your privacy while living in the Philippines. Stick around. Hi guys, so what do I mean by privacy? Well, a few things. Number one, I run into a lot of expats and a lot of foreigners that come out here and they are so open with all their information. And I think to myself, back in the West, they probably weren't quite so open. For one, income. In the West, it's pretty common that you don't really talk about how much you make. But here, I have found, in particular, other foreigners, how open they are with people they just meet, disclosing exactly how much money they have coming in, or how much money they have sitting in their house. And I have 100,000 at my house that I keep in my cash box, or I have this, and I make this amount of money each month. Now, I can remember when I was living back in the U.S., nobody really talked about exactly how much you brought in, how much money you made, how much money you had sitting in your savings. Nobody really talked about that unless it was a close personal friend. And I think people forget sometimes that actually being here in the Philippines, that can actually be even more dangerous than perhaps even in the West. And not just Filipinos. I think actually it can be even more dangerous, and you should maintain your privacy even more so with other foreigners. And while we're on that topic, there is a difference between Filipinos and foreigners on what they consider private information. For Filipinos, sometimes they are very open about different things. Like they will come straight out, even if you're a stranger, they'll say, "Oh, how much was that phone? Where did you buy it? Where, are you, they ask a lot of personal questions that we perceive as personal and should be private. And for them, they don't really have that. They think, oh, I'm just making conversation. It can be quite normal. But for us, we can be taken aback and we're like, whoa. I've had several times where I've met somebody and they would say, oh, how much do you make? And I'm like, that's kind of private information. So, get used to two factors. One, I don't know why, but other foreigners seem to disclose everything. And I think you should have some caution. You should protect yourself. In fact, again, I think you should be even more cautious around other foreigners. And also, on the other side, be aware that Filipinos sometimes don't have a filter. Sometimes they will come straight out and ask you these things. And not even on the discussion of privacy, but I've had Filipinos will come out and say, "Oh, you've gone fat." Where we might think, "Oh, wow, that's kind of rude to say," but for them, they joke around and they will just tell you and be blunt sometimes. So you have to be aware of that. But again, you should protect your information. If you're meeting other foreigners, and they ask exactly where you live, I usually don't mind if I'm living in a gated community or things like that. But other than that, I don't really discuss exactly where I live with people that I don't know. And it's not just because I'm a vlogger, but even before that, I might say, hey, I live at this condo building, but I don't say, what floor I'm on and I don't what room I'm in for somebody that I don't know. I don't disclose, what my monthly salary is that I'm getting each month. And again, I've known foreigners. I knew this one guy who would say, I'm a multimillionaire. And he would like just announce it to everybody. And, I've got this much in my savings and I made this much in the stock market today. And I keep this much at home and I just bought this and it cost me this much. And I don't know if it was just maybe in the West, people just weren't impressed, because maybe it was just, I don't know. But here he would disclose it to everybody. And I was thinking to myself, it's kind of a dangerous thing to do. And again, with other foreigners and even Filipinos, you might run into the wrong Filipino who says, "Whoa, payday." You know what I mean? So when you get here, at least don't forget that this is a new country. This is a place away from home, and just because people are more friendly and you're maybe in a more relaxed state of mind, it doesn't mean you should let your guard down and all of a sudden lose your privacy. Still maintain some of that. Maintain where you live until you know somebody. Don't disclose with a brand new girl you're dating, "Hey, this is where I store my money." I've known guys that I've talked to who have already, maybe they've only been with a girl a couple weeks, and they're already handing their ATM card over to her with a PIN number to say, "Hey, can you go do the grocery shopping? Can you go get some cash out and do whatever?" And I think to myself, if you were dating a girl in the West, would you do that? Probably not. Most people are still pretty guarded with that type of information. But when they come here, all of a sudden it seems like they lose their mind and they do that. Now, speaking of money, if you are a YouTube member or Patreon member of mine, I am coming out with a 5-part series of how I moved out to the Philippines and semi-retired at a fairly young age. I came out here at first at age 45. I was working. I was working a few years. I went to Vietnam. I worked some more. And then I got rid of those jobs and I ended up doing everything online. And so I thought in this 5-part video series, I will go through the steps I took from before all the way to what I have planned in the future of how I bring in income and how you could also do it if you are perhaps not getting a pension and you're under the age of 62. Now, for YouTube members, all you have to do, if you're not a YouTube member, if you go ahead and click on the join button under any of my YouTube videos, you can sign up by choosing any one of the different levels that you would like to choose. They all have different benefits, and I would appreciate the support. Now, Patreon has even more stuff available. Patreon, you can get things like a free coffee mug, free consultations, free t-shirts, and over 75 additional videos. And you can head over to patreon.com/Geo in the Philippines to sign up there and get access to this new video series as well as much, much more. Thank you. So, again, just to wrap things up, when you get over here, maintain your privacy. Again, this is not a video where I'm preaching at you. It's just something that I have noticed over the years. And again, I had met somebody, a viewer, for coffee, and I was surprised just how he just told me he just moved here, and he basically told me exactly where his income's coming from, how much it is, how much he keeps at home. And I'm thinking to myself, you don't really know me. Why would you be telling me exactly how much money you make, how much you store in your house, where exactly you live? And again, I've heard people, just complete strangers here, they just disclose so much information that I would think to myself that in the West, we just keep that stuff private. And I don't know why all of a sudden it changes when they get here. And again, it's not everybody, of course, but there's a large amount of people that do. So at least until you get to know somebody, don't be handing your brand new girlfriend of 1 week your keys to your motorbike and your apartment and your lockbox and your ATM PIN number. Slow things down, maintain some privacy for a while. And again, I hope this video helps. And please comment down below if you've had any situation like this as well. And again, if you want to help support my channel, you can support it by signing up through YouTube membership or Patreon. And watch out for my new 5-part video series of how I did it at an early age, 45, and how I continue to make money at age 51 now, and how I will support myself all the way up until I get my 401k and my Social Security, if it's around. We'll see. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.